Hi guys, welcome to the Soul on Fire show. I am so excited to be here because today is Wednesday, and on Wednesday we get to teach, guys. I'm Noelle Agape, and I'm a leading expert in health, wellness, and consciousness. Thank you for being here on the live, and thank you for being here on the replay. On today's show, we're going to go deep into the masculine and feminine energies. We're going to talk about working into the quantum fields and understanding and collapsing time and space. We're going to talk about synchronicities and signs and what they're actually teaching you. We're going to talk about your internal guidance system and how that actually guides you towards your soul's purpose on a daily basis. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Those that are in the live, those that are in the replay. Again, my name is Noelle Agape, and I'm a leading expert in health, wellness, and consciousness. Today is a big show because we're going deep into the quantum world. And on this channel, we talk about science and spirituality. We talk about deep things into the quantum world. We're going to talk about the divine masculine energies and how when they're out of balance, what they look like, and the divine feminine energies and how when they're out of balance, what they look like as well. We're going to talk about your soul's journey on managing both energies, right? Because as humans, we have both the masculine and feminine energies. This has nothing to do with gender, but it has a lot to do with masculine and feminine energies. And so this has been a really big topic in my life lately. I don't know why. I work deep into the quantum fields for forever and I'm a quantum energy trainer. I'm an NLP trainer and a licensed counselor, but the masculine and feminine energies have really been coming up so much for me in my life. And so I just was called to do my show today about it because really, truly, guys, when we understand how to manage these energies, we understand relationship in general, not relationship between like intimacy. Yes, because that's what we're going to talk about today as well. But we're also going to talk about deep relationships with people and understanding the dynamics of your ego and the dynamics of your energy and how to merge the two and how to understand that when things come up in your life, that it really is just moving you to a better place in your life, right? And so the past month of my life has been crazy, but it's been wonderful because it's allowed me to go deeper into the fields that I've never gone into before. Many know that I'm studying to be a shaman. Many know that the shamanistic journey is the soul, is like you go into the soul, and everything that ever is going to come up on your life's journey, and we will talk we'll touch a little bit about soul contracts and sacral contracts in a later segment as well. But right now we're going to focus on the masculine and feminine energies. Again, we all have masculine and we all have feminine energies in us. But what does that look like if we're dealing with the wounded masculine and the wounded feminine? And there's a lot that comes up for me around this subject, primarily because, I have spent so many years healing people. And once I realized that I'm not a healer, even studying the shamanistic journey, I'm a teacher, right? And so I experience things in life to teach them back to you guys. And so that's what we do on this channel. So welcome. You might want to, if you are watching this on, while you're driving or anything, this is a powerful activation that we're going to do later on and I will balance the masculine and feminine energies within the activation. So later on in the segments, if you're driving, you might want to watch that part on the replay. So let's talk about what masculine and feminine energies are and how that looks like and how that actually comes up into the world. And right now, society needs this more than ever. We really, truly need the feminine energies to be healed. So I'll start at the beginning, right? For the last 2,000 years, we've been in the age of Pisces, and the age of Pisces was understanding and learning about self, right? And so what does the age of Pisces mean? On this channel, we go, it's super woo-woo at some points, and sometimes it's super science. I'm going to merge the two today. Today, it might be a little bit more woo-woo than the science because this is the more spirituality aspect of it. I'm going to talk a lot about the things the energies that are happening on the planet right now. So 2,000 years ago, we went into the age of Pisces, and that is really when the Christ consciousness came about, right? And so the Christ consciousness is the power of God within us, divinity within us. And we understand that it's such a gift that Christ was one of the greatest masters that has come to this planet, right? And so what we have done in the age of Pisces is we had to learn about ourselves. We had to learn about the empowerment of ourselves. We had to learn about being human in this body, but also having the power of God and divinity through us. In the last 2,000 years, in the age of Pisces, what our lessons, our soul lessons as a collective, not just individual, and I'll go into the individual lessons in just a bit, but the soul lessons as a collective was to expand humanity beyond beyond the self, beyond the ego. And what happened through that time is often when you give someone or something power, they have to navigate it through the divinity, the divinity fields, right? And so what the understanding of the age of Pisces is that it was to learn how to have power without ego. And that's where we're at right now, right? So as in of December 2010, I believe it was, that we went into the age of Aquarius. And this year, in 2021, we actually got activated into the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is individuation, right? This is where we understand that we are more powerful than we've ever been in our life. And we take that power, but we use it in a divine light. We don't use it in a structured way, meaning the last 2,000 years, we've had the industries that have built, the banks that have built, society that has built, religion that was built. And really what they have found over the last 2,000 years is that it was the controlling aspect, right? So humanity got to be controlled over the last 2,000 years, and we learned how to be manipulated. We learned how to be controlled in an environment like that. And that was a lesson that actually our souls came to understand and learn and expand and move humanity through. The age of Aquarius, now that we're moved into, is a very, very, very different paradigm. The age of Aquarius is understanding that we don't need an outside source for our power, but all of our power comes from within. The age of Aquarius is the quantum world. The age of Aquarius is working in the quantum fields and understanding science on a more deeper level, right? Merging science and spirituality is what we do on this channel. And so the age of Aquarius is truly tapping into the feminine energies. And so we are going to go deep into the masculine and feminine energies today. We're going to understand how moving into the age of Aquarius is really based on the individuality and the power within us, and tapping into divinity and tapping into that source of the universe and bringing that through us out into humanity. And that's really what the feminine energies are, right? And so for the last 2,000 years, the feminine energies have been very, very suppressed. And primarily because feminine energies, and this is super controversial, but it's actually the truth, is one of the most powerful energies in the planet. And I'm not saying females are the most powerful energies in the planet, because there's not. Male and female both have feminine energies within them, and so do some females have masculine energies as well. But the wounded feminine has been the divine feminine has been so suppressed by the wounded masculine for the last 2,000 years. And that's what the show is going to be about today, is the suppression of the feminine energies and the suppression of how to actually be in the divine masculine and be in the divine feminine, as opposed to being in the wounded aspect that we've been in for the last 2,000 years. So let's start from the beginning of the Pisces age. This goes way, way back to the beginning of time, and understanding the depth of, Egyptian times and the age of Aquarius and all of the things that are happening, right? It's truly just, if you look at history, it is the pattern. And so the more that the masculine was becoming powerful over the last 20 years, actually, the more the feminine has weakened. But the masculine wasn't in the divine masculine. It was in the wounded masculine for the last 2,000 years. And so the wounded masculine looks like the aggressor. It looks like control. It looks like, manipulation. And that's, the wounded masculine comes out in all of us, in our ego and in society. And it's such a prevalent part of society right now, is the wounded masculine. And the wounded masculine is when you don't have a choice, and it's manipulation and it's control. A lot of political things are happening right now with balancing, especially in the United States, because we're going through our soul revival and our soul growth in the United States. So what is happening is that people are questioning the authority that was built over the last 2,000 years. So what does that mean? They are questioning religion. They are questioning, government. They are questioning the banking system and money and abundance. And they are questioning that because we as souls came here to question that, right? We came here to understand that there is a power within us that is more incredible than any other power on earth. The power that creates worlds is within us. And so the masculine energy is a beautiful energy, and I'll teach you how to use each of those in their divinity in just a moment. But the masculine energy is beautiful energy because it is action, it is motivation, it is strength, it is the structure and the procedures behind everything, right? And so the feminine energy is that has been suppressed, and the divine feminine is the creativity and the intuition and the flow and being in your body and in the moment, and identifying what it is, right? So it is trust, it is allowing, it is being in the moment, it is receiving, it is this beautiful, very flowy energy, right? And so the feminine energy in the wounded actually looks like it's very needy, it's very codependent, it's very anxious, right? The wounded masculine could also be avoidant as well, and I spoke about that in my last week's show. Is that avoidant and anxious and insecure, and so what we want to get to is them being balanced, right? And so instead of the needing to control or the manipulation or the superseding power over someone else, the divine masculine is needed, right? It's the action, it is the motivation, it is the structure, right? But the divine masculine has to come home to the divine feminine energies. And when you understand that the feminine energies creates worlds within their body. Now, I just want to think what you should think of the life and the creation of nature, right? We create life in our body as women, with the help of men, obviously, but the life is actually created in the woman. And so the feminine energy is the womb, right? The men is the injection, and they inject the idea or the doing, or right, and the feminine is the receiving. Think of the egg, right? The egg sits there and waits for the male. And I'll talk about that, how this ties into relationships in the next segment. So the divine feminine energy, when you trust and when you allow and you're in the moment and you receive and you respond from that space, that is this beautiful, beautiful dance with the masculine and feminine energies, is that there, and every woman has the masculine and feminine energies, and every man has the masculine and feminine energies. And so when you are in flow, that is actually a feminine energy, right? When you're in action and inspired action, that is the masculine energy. But when you are in action and it's not inspired, or it's inspired by ego, or it's inspired by fear or a lower vibration, that's the wounded. So how do we balance these beautiful energies that are inside all of us? And what does it mean to be in the age of Aquarius? And why are we, what is the point of all of it, right? We are in a moment of, literally over the last 2 years, we're in a moment of massive, massive transition in this world, and the energies of this world are coming through. We're bringing massive light codes that have never been in this world before. And so the light is embodying in the dark, and the dark will never, ever supersede. But while we're going through it, we actually have to live in some sort of the darkness. And so how the darkness is coming up, and again, I've spoken this many, many times, contrast is never a bad thing. It is just a lesson for us to expand, and it is showing us where our emotional state of being is, whether it's an individual or a collective. And it, as a collective right now, our emotional state of being is in fear, it is in control, it is in the wounded masculine energies. And so it's a collective. The more that we can tap into our divine masculine and our divine feminine, that's how we actually have better relationship, not relationships, which I will talk about in just a minute, how the masculine and feminine actually are beautiful dance when they're in a relationship, but relationship with other people, relationship with money, relationship with your business, relationship with yourself, right? And so what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself in this moment, right? What is it in my life that has control over me? I don't have control over. What over? Is it money? Is it relationship? Is it fear? Is it anger? Is it hurt? Is it sadness? Is it guilt and shame? because that is the pocket where you probably are going to need the most work in, is the patterns that come up in your daily life with the wounded masculine or the wounded feminine is the work that you've had to do. Now, guys, you know that this has been a lifelong journey for me, is balancing the energies, primarily because I teach this and I am, I have tons, I'm a Capricorn, but I have tons of Scorpio in my chart. So Scorpio, it goes into the depths of the soul of everything, right? So I need to know everything, and I'm always inquisitive and I'm always learning, but I go through an experience to teach. So the soul contracts that are a part of your soul being is, everyone that is in humanity in this time right now. If you are living in this world right now, you are going through one of your sacred contracts is to understand and balance the masculine and feminine energies, whether you realize it or not. And so it is a big, powerful thing to understand them, because every single person on this planet is here right now to balance these energies, because you have decided to incarnate at the end of the age of Pisces into the new beginning of the age of Aquarius. And the age of Aquarius is truly the future energies. It is space, it is time, it is fluid. But there are, darkness. The Pisces is a very intuitive. It was the religious. It was the connection to divinity. We learned about our connection to the divinity. But the shadow side of the Pisces was the insecurities, the very much the wounded feminine, the codependency, the neglect, the false sense of realities. That was the age of Pisces, right? And that was the wounded feminine that we came to heal. But the enlightened side of Pisces is beautiful. I mean, it is divinity, it is creative, it is the divine feminine, it is water energy that flows through the earth. It is understanding that there are alternate realities, and understanding that there are alternate options, and we live in an infinite universe. So the shadow side of Aquarius is the same. Like that's what we're closing out. We're closing out the shadow side of Pisces and Aquarius, which is the wounded and feminine, and the divine feminine, right? And so what we're now moving into is the age of Aquarius, and that is the age of individuation. And so when I say individuation, it's not individuality, right? Because we need others in our lives. And I talk about this all the time on this channel. It's not codependency or independent, it's interdependent, where we truly rely on each other for this beautiful gift of humanity, to expand humanity out to this wonderful world. So the divinity that comes through us in the way of, I'm just going to use politics, and I'm not going to talk about anything. I'm not going to talk about politics. I'm not going to talk about the whether people are, I don't want to get banned, but whether, I'm not going to talk about the pandemic. I'm not going to talk about anything, but I will talk about the structures that are being broken down, primarily because that's why we came here, right? Because they are no longer working in the energies of the divine feminine, and the divine feminine are the energies of flow and inspiration and guidance and pure intention, right? And setting intention and connecting to other energies that exist. The reason why we are having such a troubled time, especially in the United States, but you're having a troubled time through society today, is because what's going on with, the pandemic, what's going on with politics. It is all a higher sense of hierarchy, meaning that God's source of the universe is just like nature is collapsing things. It goes through different seasons. And so as humanity, we are going through a season. We're going through a season of the winter, right? We're going through a season where we're releasing the wounded masculine and the control, the abuse, the aggression, the manipulation, the hustle, the grind, the entire banking system. Everything, I promise you this, guys, everything within the next 20 to 30 years will be completely different. Because the divine energies we're moving into is truly the energies that we're here to move humanity forward, right? So when we understand that, and when we understand that the structures and the paradigms will be broken down, they just will, and they will be different. And I'm not to say good or bad, but they will be different. And so when you have change, you will always, your ego will rebel. Your consciousness will never rebel because your consciousness will always guide you. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. But your ego and your subconscious and your unconscious, the belief systems that we've inherited over the last 2,000 years from the age of Pisces moving into the age of Aquarius, has allowed us to be very uncomfortable. And that's the discord that you see all over humanity right now, is that there's different levels of consciousness, and the levels of consciousness are coming out, and it is so apparent if you look at society today that there are people that are awake and there are people that are not awake, right? And there are people that are impeding their older values upon somebody that has new ideas and new energies and new insights. And so if we don't move into the expansion, what happens is the contraction, right? And that's where we are right now, is the contraction. And so the contraction energies are truly the wounded masculine and or the wounded feminine energies. And so we as a society only know religion. We only know the structures of the politics. We only know the structures of the banking system. We only know everything that we have been taught over the last 2,000 years that has come down and down and down and down and down. But every generation that comes in is truly like, no, this isn't right. Like, just something about this is not right. And it started out really from the depression in our grandparents. And from that space of poverty and lack, our grandparents knew that that was not supposed to be here on earth. That was never the intention. You are, pure divinity, pure, the balanced masculine and the balanced feminine in nature is abundant. We are abundant by nature. We are abundant it is our birthright to have abundance. And so, back in the age of the depression, that's when it actually started. The pivotal point of the end of the age of Pisces started, right? No, there's a lot of structure that doesn't make sense. The financial system doesn't really make sense. Like, a lot of people are suffering and others are thriving. It's not, many imbalances started during that time. So this has gone back. I mean, I'm talking even more than the depression. This has gone back thousands and thousands of years where we've been, it's not good versus evil. It's just energies that all thought patterns have ever existed are already created. And so that's how creation works, just like nature, right? I mean, there was, and I'll tell you a story in just a little bit, but my house that I moved into, my brand new house, is really like the animal kingdom. I am not kidding you when I tell you I have had 4 grasshoppers in my house. I have had 5 geckos in my house. I have had 1 snake in my house, 1 snake. Literally, thankfully, the man that I'm dating had to remove it. But it was in a week and a half. I've had like all of these things, but by nature, they knew they needed to get safe. Like, it was hot, and so they wanted to come to a cooler place. It was stormy, so they came inside. And so nature actually just knows. And that's the inner knowing that we're going to talk about with the Interdivine Feminine in the next segment, of understanding your intuition and how to connect the Divine Feminine with your intuition. And then from that space, moving into the Divine Masculine, which is the action oriented, and how to actually balance them in relationships is what we're going to work through in this as well. And so this component's more of a teaching component, and then the next will be more of an understanding of how to implement them. So in the age of Pisces, we moved from these wounded paradigms into the age of Aquarius. And so the age of Aquarius is individuation, but the dark side of Aquarius is actually, it's like, isolation, and it's disconnect from others. And that's already started, right? With the everybody having to be in lockdown, everybody doing Zoom now as opposed to personalization and things like that. So there is technology that has improved our lives tremendously, which did come from beautiful ideas of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. But what has happened over time, from the beginning of time since man has existed, and I believe that this is the experiment, is that, we have moved into a different paradigm, meaning we're moving into individuation, but now, we go into the extremes of it, primarily because we're learning to understand the ego. And the more that we're awake and going into the quantum fields, the more that we actually don't need to rely on anything of the history past, right? And so I know so many people are focused so much on history, and I think that's wonderful and beautiful, and history can really teach us, but the future is really the way we're supposed to be moving into, right? Energy never goes back into the past. Your inner being never goes back into the past. It always is moving forward. Energy is always fluid and moving forward. And so if we understand that through the age of Aquarius, we are supposed to tap into the energetic fields, and we're supposed to learn how to have individuation of our power. We're supposed to use the energies for power, but we're not supposed to use them to power over other people, right? We're supposed to learn our individual power that works within us. And I truly believe that that's what's going on in society today is that humanity is being tested of how much power can they tap into, not how much power do I have over another human. That is the wounded in every aspect of the case. It is how much I can tap into my own inner power, bring that power and gift out to the world to change humanity, because one person that is enlightened is truly, truly the power of 1 million that are not. 1 million people. So if you are enlightened, if you're watching this channel, you are enlightened. I mean, that's basically it, or on the path to enlightenment. And so one of us is literally worth 1 million people that are not. So that being said, is that the wounded masculine and the wounded feminine energies are really dying. And I'm going to say that again. And I'm going to say that with conviction, because it is so powerful and so true. The wounded masculine and the wounded feminine energies that have been around for generations after generations after generations, that are the absolute wrong way of going about humanity. They are absolutely dying, meaning that we are moving into the beautiful age of Aquarius. And when we understand how to understand the age of Aquarius, when we understand how to understand individuation. Those of you that know me, I am a quantum energy trainer. I'm an NLP trainer, neuro-linguistics trainer. I teach the mind-body connection. I'm also a licensed counselor, and I understand the quantum realms, right? I work in the quantum realms. I play with the quantum realms, and there are times where your brain and your ego won't allow you to move forward because of that, and that's where we are stuck in society right now. Is society as a whole, our egoic society as a whole, is thinking that we are either being manipulated or we are able to manipulate. Somebody is controlling us, or we are controlling someone else. And actually, none of that is true, guys. None of that is true. Our power is within us. Nobody can control us unless we allow them to control us. And truly, 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 as a society, when we understand that, and this is going to be a very controversial show, because there are many people and close friends of mine that believe that there is something wrong with society right now, and there's nothing wrong with society. The universe is just asking us to tap into our individual power. The universe is asking us to show who we are and tapped into the age of Aquarius. The universe is asking us to balance the feminine and masculine energies within us and bring that out to the world. So that is my belief system. And, everybody has their opinion and everybody has their belief. I would never, ever take away from anybody's belief system. I honor where everyone is, but honoring and loving people wherever they are is the divine feminine, right? And allowing them space to feel it let out. Everybody is on an individual journey. There is 1 billion people on this planet together, and together we have to navigate through these changes from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. And it's not an easy journey. So each of us are in our own space of awakening. Each of us are in our own space of awareness. Each of us are in our own space of consciousness. And the more that we tap into our inner power, the more that we can bring that inner power out to the world. I am going to take a quick break, guys, because that was very long-winded. I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to actually talk about how the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies actually tap into relationships, and how in relationships they show up in your life when they're out of balance. And so it's a big thing. Today's show is sponsored by my company, Noelle Agape Global, where we truly, truly, truly want to tap into everybody's internal power. We have amazing, beautiful, incredible retreats that are around the world that are adventure therapy, and we tap into your soul's purpose. We tap into your adventure. We tap into your life and who you are, and we find the greatest version of you. And we will be right back, guys. Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being on the Soul on Fire show. My name is Noelle Agape and I'm a leading expert in health, wellness, and consciousness. Today we're talking about the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies. We're talking about how in relationships, how they look, how we moved from the age of Pisces. In the first segment, we talked deeply about how society is moving from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius and how the changes that need to be and Pisces in enlightenment and in Aquarius in enlightenment and how that looks and how we need to move into our power to truly change humanity. Thank you for being here on the live. Thank you so much for being on our amazing show. And I appreciate and honor you guys. And if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe because we want to get this information out to as many people as we possibly can. So the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies is what we're going deep into today. We're going to talk about also the internal guidance systems, your inner knowing, and how those paradigms tie into the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies, right? And so in your fields, you have masculine and feminine energies on both sides of you, whether you are masculine or feminine. And in the wounded masculine, which is where society is right now, the society itself is in the wounded masculine, and it is truly fighting and suppressing the divine feminine energies. And so the divine feminine creates her life. It is flow. It is magnetic. It is absolutely joy, and it is life. The divine masculine energies, on the other hand, are action, they are motivation, and there is a space for both, right? There's a space for both. There's no space for the wounded, and that's what we're going through in society. Is we do have the wounded very, very prevalent right now, but what we're here to do is we're here to move past the wounded and move past the wounded masculine and feminine. And so in a relationship, when you're in your feminine energies and you're going to, there's always somebody, whether it's an intimate relationship or a friendship or a parenthood, whatever it may be, a relationship with money, a relationship with your business, there's always going to be a feminine energy and a masculine energy. And how can you use these energies to truly manipulate time and space and create your beautiful reality, right? And so the feminine energies, when you're softer and you're not needing and you're leaning back, right? It's the feminine energies, the four components of the feminine energies. It is trust, it is allowing, it is being in the moment, and it is receiving and responding from that space, right? And so a lot of people are in a very, very, they when they do things, they're manipulating those things. They're manipulating the trust. They're manipulating the allowing. They're doing things to make things happen. And if you're ever doing anything to make anything happen, that's actually not the divine feminine. That's actually the wounded masculine. I'm sorry, guys, I'm like drippy. But that's actually the trying to do too much is actually the wounded masculine energies, right? And so the space for there are many times throughout the day where I'm in my feminine energy, and there are many times in my day where I'm in my masculine energies. And so I own a corporation, right? I'm a TV show host, and I run retreats around the world. I have a lot going on. I'm a mom. I'm a soccer mom, and I have a lot going on that I have to do, right? Even I have to make my kids get dinner. That's doing, right? And so when you're doing all the time, that's actually a masculine energy. And there's a space for that in your life, right? I mean, if I wouldn't have a TV show if I didn't do anything, but the creativity of the TV show and the ideas and the inspiration, that is the divine feminine, right? But I actually have to get on the station and do the work. That's the masculine energies, right? So how do you balance the masculine and feminine in a relationship? How do you know where you are, if you're more in the masculine, or if you're more in the wounded masculine, or if you're more in the wounded feminine, or if you're more in the wounded the divine feminine and the divine masculine? What I've realized often in my men that I've been dating for a very long time is that I truly I'm a doer, right? And I had to learn in every relationship, not just my recent relationship, even my marriage, my relationship prior to this one. I've only been in a couple of relationships in my life, but all of them I have been the doer, right? And that was not allowing the masculine to be in his full masculine terms, right? And so when I wasn't doing, I was actually an anxious energy, meaning that I was either codependent or I wouldn't trust. I was very, very, very needy at times. Once I became secure in my divine feminine, and security in your divine feminine looks like you own your power, it's beauty, it is strength, it is grace, it is not, you can be very gregarious and loving and playful, but also there's a part of me that needs to be masculine, right? I have to get things done. I am a doer, right? And overcoming my wounded feminine that was suppressed for a very long time, because that I came from a very abusive background. So it was hard for me to be in my feminine. It was hard for me to express my truth, my authenticity. It was my softer side of me. And what I learned through this whole process is the more that I'm me, and the more that I'm softer, and the more that I'm loving and I'm kind, and I'm seeing their perspective from a different point of view, and I'm not passing judgment, and I'm not having expectations on someone, the more that I'm living in the moment. And I'll go through each of the divine feminine, and then I'll go through each of the divine masculine in a relationship and how that actually looks. So let's start with trust. Trust was one of the biggest things for me that I had to overcome. Was, coming from an abusive background, I didn't trust people in general. I'd not just trust the man that I was with, but also in business relationships and friendships. Like I didn't trust that people were going to either do what they said or they were going to stick around. So that was like massive for me, right? And so when you don't have full trust, you're not in a secure place in your relationships, right? And so I 1,000,000% did not trust. I don't know that ever until just recently that anyone that I've ever been with. And trust is one of the biggest components of the divine feminine. So let's talk about allowing now. Allowing is the second. Going into the allowing energies, and I just got chills as I said that all over my body. And the allowing energies are when you just have this inner knowing within you that all is well, and you are taken care of, and you are safe, and you are loved. And I just got seriously chills and emotional from that. But the allowing stage is so beautiful and so present, and so it is you and source together, knowing that you have that power within you to create worlds, right? And that it is taken care of, that you are safe, that you are loved, that you are worthy, that you are good enough. That's the allowing space. And it is so yummy, and it's so beautiful when you're in the allowing space. And from that space, it's being in the moment. And as a doer, right, this is another lesson that I had to learn, was that I am insatiable at sometimes. I'm not anymore, but I used to be to the point where I was truly insatiable, and I would create and I would create and I would create and I would create, and then I'd be overwhelmed. And even with my business, I did that, guys, right? Because I wasn't in the moment. I didn't create and then experience. And then I was always searching for the destination and never being on the journey. That's the true being in the moment, right? Always, oh, I want to be married. Oh, I want to have $1 million. Oh, it was always, and as we are creators, guys, we are creators of our own reality. So that insatiableness is always going to be there. And I don't know if that's even a word, insatiableness, but it's always going to be there. But the truth is that when you're insatiable, you're not living in the moment, right? And so when you understand that the trust and the allowing and the living in the moment, that is your pocket in your divine feminine. And that is really where we have been so suppressed. Humanity doesn't trust, they don't allow, they rely on other sources. They're never in the moment. They're always looking for their Mercedes. They're always looking for the $1 million. They're always looking for the ring. They're always looking for something, right? And so the divine feminine is these four components. It is so the trusting and understanding that you are God, source, universe within you, and God is taking care of you, and the allowing to know and understand that it is already done, right? Everything that you've ever wanted is already in the field of infinite possibilities. And from that space, the living and experiencing the moment, and understanding that every moment is creation. Every moment that you are in is creation, right? And from that space, It is literally responding from that space, but it is also knowing that you get to experience this life in a way that you get to receive. And the big one with receiving, huge, 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 is this is what's going on in society, is the wounded feminine is so repressed that receiving is so warped. So receiving from a place of love, receiving from a place of wisdom, not receiving from a place of codependency, not receiving from a place of, of lack, receiving from a place of wisdom and love, receiving from a place of trust and of allowing and being in the moment and understanding that God's source universe is working through you, and receiving from that space and knowing that you are good enough and knowing that you are loved beyond belief. From that space, when you respond to someone from that space, that is the secure space, right? So prior to that, if you're not in that space, that's the anxious space of, it's either anxious, avoidant, and secure. We've spoken about that before, how about the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies. A lot of the time, the feminine energies are in the anxious space, right? But when you understand that the trust and then the allowing, and then the from that space, you're truly, truly living in the moment, and you're receiving all that you are worthy of. That is the divine feminine in its best, in its beauty. And so now let's talk about the wounded masculine and the wounded feminine, the wounded masculine and the divine feminine in relationships, and how that looks, right? So, again, not male, female, this is same sex, this is male, female, this is same sex, this is everything. We all have these energies, but one of them are unbalanced in you, or both of them are imbalanced, or they're secure. So if you're in a relationship and you're anxious, then you're in the wounded feminine. If you're avoidant, you are in the wounded masculine. If you're controlling, you're in the wounded masculine. So you can be in both, right? You can be a woman that's in the wounded masculine, absolutely, without question. And actually, I up until probably 3 years ago, I think I didn't even like men, really. And that's the truth, is that I went through the motions, but I truly didn't even trust. It's not that I didn't love men, but I didn't trust them. I didn't believe in them. And so I was 100% overcompensating in my wounded masculine to protect my wounded feminine. But now I'm in my divine feminine, and I understand so much more, and allowing people in the space that they are. So the wounded masculine looks very much like society today: the controlling, the manipulation, the structure that is broken, the procedures that are broken, right? The action that is not in alignment with our higher selves. That is definitely the wounded masculine that is going on in society, and it's suppressed the beautiful feminine energies for a very long time. So the divine masculine actually is needed just as much as the divine feminine to make life. And when you understand making life takes the divine masculine and the divine feminine, nature has a polarity, right? The polarity is what creates relationship. And so the divine masculine is the strength, the structure, the home, right? They are the rock of everything. They are the safety. And so the feminine energy feels very, very safe in the divine masculine energies. The feminine energy feels very unsafe in the wounded masculine energies, right? And so the feminine energy feels very loved, feels very secured in the masculine energies when they're defined, but she doesn't and she feels very anxious when it's in the wounded. I'm saying he, but I'm using the feminine masculine again. A man can absolutely be in his wounded feminine, and a woman can absolutely be in her wounded masculine. So with that being said, how do we work with these energies, right? So it is strength, it is structure, it is safety, it is, and it's not even just the hero. And that was a very old paradigm, that the hero had to be the masculine, right? The man had to come save the damsel in distress. That's like the old Disney movies that I wish that they would change all of that. But as much as I love Disney, it's just this, it's 100% the wounded masculine, right? The wounded masculine supports the woman, but it doesn't. The woman doesn't need to have the man. The woman, it's a support system for each other, right? So in a relationship, how the divine masculine looks very, very prevalent is how a man shows up when he shows up. The masculine energies, not a man, how the masculine energies is actually showing up. So a man that's not showing up, or a masculine energies that are not showing up, are actually not in the secure masculine, divine masculine energies. They're actually in the wounded masculine, when they're in avoidance, right? And so because it's safer for them, because the women are the feminine energies are, I need to express this. I'm anxious. I need you to be with me. That's the codependency. And so the masculine energies, when they're not in alignment, are truly in avoidant, right? And so the avoidant energies are, I don't feel safe right now, so I'm going to contract because your chaos is making me not feel safe. That's in a relationship. That's how a wounded masculine and a wounded feminine flow. So how do you be in flow with your masculine and your feminine energies? You understand where in your life that you need the motivation, the structure, the stability. That is like in my job, I need to be more in a masculine role, but when I'm on camera, I'm more in a feminine role, right? And so when I'm creating, when it's my book that's coming through me, or my life, or I'm out creating my show, that's my feminine, and hand in hand, my show wouldn't exist without my masculine and my feminine energies. So does that make sense to everybody? Is that there is a space in every part of your life that have the masculine and feminine energies in them. Mostly come up in relationships, but I'm going to show up very differently in my business than I am in my relationship. And this actually just came up very recently in my relationship, that I was acting in my relationship as I do in my business. And that's very overpowering, right? And so it wasn't allowing my man to be in his masculine, because I'm such an, doer. And I was constantly in the space of doing and me, and not allowing him to be in his divine masculine, because in my space for business, I had to survive. And so I was in the doing, right? And so when I understood that was such a life pivotal shift for me, is that the softer energies in my relationship is where I'm supposed to show up. I'm supposed to show up as, he can come home to the beautiful divine feminine, but be my rock and my stability, but not in a codependent way. But in my business, I have to be the rock, right? And with my kids, I have to be the rock, right? And so understanding where in your life that you need the divine masculine and where you need the divine feminine. And what we're going to talk about now is we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about your internal guidance system with each, and how understanding that there's signs and synchronicities that go through each life, right? I mean, I'm telling you, the universe, it talks to me all day, every day, and it talks to you all day, every day, but I just listen, right? All of those animals that were in my house, I was laughing, but it truly is the animal kingdom in my house this week, has been signs and synchronicities. I look up and I say, what does a gecko mean? What does a snake mean? What does it mean when you break a glass? Why do I see 333 all the time? And I'll do a whole show on signs and synchronicities, but it is the universe showing you that where you're out of balance and where you're out of alignment, and directing you into a better space with your feminine and your masculine energies. Guys, so we are going to take another quick break and be right back. I have so much to tell you about this, and I actually think I'm going to do another segment on the soul contracts and another segment on synchronicities, because that is such a powerful thing. And we only have a couple minutes left. But I do want to talk about merging the feminine and masculine energies with your intelligence. We'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being on the Soul on Fire show. My name is Noelle Agape, and I'm a leading expert in health, wellness, and consciousness. Today, we are talking about merging the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies, and understanding wounded masculine and the wounded feminine are teaching you. And so they are always teaching you for expansion. We are always moving through and understanding that life is here to experience and expand. And if you do not expand, your experience will be not so great, right? So your internal guidance system is such a beautiful gift. And I need you to hear this, guys, is that my internal guidance system is my greatest relationship that I have. On a daily basis, I meditate in the morning for an hour and I meditate for an hour at night. I connect to my body. I connect to my mind. I talk to my body all day, every day. I talk to my higher self all day. I talk to God all day, source, whatever you believe it to be. It guides me, right? And when I'm supposed, it tells me when to lean in, to be into my masculine energies. It tells me when to lean back and be more into my feminine energies. It shows me in my life through circumstances and synchronicities and signs where I'm being in my wounded energies and where I'm being in my wounded masculine and wounded feminine. It shows me and teaches me on a daily basis. And when you understand that you have the energy that creates worlds within inside of you, that is communicating with you all day, every day, it is the most beautiful gift in the world. And one of the most powerful energies you can work with. There are many, many energies, and we have systems all over our body that are energetic systems. Those of you that know, I'm a quantum energy trainer and I work deeply into the quantum fields. I, time travel, I lucid dream, I do all the fun things, but you have to be in your body. And when you understand being in your body is one of the most important components to spiritual maturity. It's emotional intelligence is understanding all this, but spiritual maturity is living it. And so on a daily basis, I am the student and I am the teacher at the same time. And there are so many times where my ego doesn't want me to believe that, right? There's so many times where I want to blame my partner. There's so many times where I want to blame my kids. I want to do this. But the truth is that it's my internal guidance system showing me that I'm not in my feminine energies that are divine, or I'm not in my masculine energies that are divine. It's showing me that, oh, okay, in this relationship right now, what you need is to just be a little softer, right? What you need from this. And so a great way to do this with your body, with your internal guidance system, and I encourage all of you to meditate. I know I teach meditation, so for me, it's easy. I can tap in right away, but many can't quiet their mind. So quieting your mind could be a form of meditation. My partner, he mountain bikes all the time, and he's an amazing person. And when I tell you he is a better person when he mountain bikes than when he doesn't. And so my kids are athletes, right? And so they are better people when they're being, I'm an athlete. And so find your pocket of you. For me, it's meditation. For me, it's healthy food. For me, it's dance. And there's not a moment in time where I'm not dancing with country music around my kitchen, right? There's something within you that brings you joy. And your emotional guidance system is basically your internal guidance system. And it is truly your gauge. Where are you right now? I'm angry. Oh, okay. Why are you angry? So angry is the wounded masculine. Why are you angry? I'm in fear. Oh, fear is the wounded feminine, right? And so when you understand that every emotion goes from the wounded masculine and the wounded feminine all the way up to the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and where you need to incorporate those in your life, it will change your life. But the biggest thing, guys, is that you have to have a relationship with you. When you understand that relationships, and we were just talking about relationships, and in the beginning we were talking about society and how moving from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, and then I talked about how in individuation, in relationship, it changes your life. Yet when you understand that relationship, the most important relationship is with you and you. The most important relationship is with you and God, source, the universe, your highest self, whatever you believe it to be. Your power is within you, and you are so intelligent. And I have said this a million times, but an eggcorn doesn't look at an oak tree and says, I don't really think I'm worthy enough to be a oak tree. I don't think I'm lovable. No, I'm kind of codependent right now, and I really need you. I really need God, source, universe to reign. I need it. I need all of these things to become an oak tree because I don't feel like I can become an oak tree. An acorn just becomes an oak tree, right? And if you watch nature, if you watch a bird that the mother feeds the children up into a point to where she knows that it's enabling them and codependent, and she pulls away and allows them to feed themselves as a bird. And so nature takes care of itself. And that's actually what your internal guidance system does. It shows you the way. Your emotional guidance system is truly your internal guidance system, because it is God, source, the universe, your power within you, talking to you all day through signs, through synchronicities, through your emotions, through your actions, through your behaviors, through what's going on in your life. The divine feminine and the divine masculine, it's this beautiful dance. And I can tell you that I have figured it out. I can tell you that I know on a daily basis when I need to pull back from my masculine or when I need to engage more in my feminine. But I can't tell you that I figured it out, because I'm still on this lifelong journey, right? And as long as you're embodied in a human body, you are still learning, and you have not reached the highest level of consciousness if you're still in a human body. So why not embrace it? Why not embrace the journey and understand that this is this beautiful gift that we get to be here on a daily basis. We get to come into this body and we get to experience moving from one paradigm of the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, to understanding relationships, to understanding relationship with yourself, God, source, and the universe, and moving it into, smaller and smaller and smaller steps on a spectrum to being individuation, and looking at, oh, wow, when I'm in my divine masculine, this is what it looks like in my life. Where is this a good place in my life for my divine masculine? How do I look when I'm in my wounded masculine? Am I angry? Am I avoidant? Am I aggressive? Am I controlling? How do I look in my divine masculine? Oh, I'm structure, I'm procedure, I'm safe. I'm a safe place. Where are those places good for me? Where do I need more improvement? Do the same thing with the divine feminine. Oh, where am I anxious? Where am I needy? Where am I nervous? Where am I have anxiety? Is it around money? Is it around relationship? Find the pockets of where life is teaching you, move into the greater version of the secure, and where am I in flow? Where am I in creativity? Where is my pocket? How do I do my best? Where am I my best, right? After exercising? Is it after being in a relationship? Is it truly when I'm in my power? Where in my life is that place for that? How can I create more of that into my life? How can I merge the creativity and the structure and the balance and this wonderful gift of the divinity to the structure and the procedures and the balance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine? And that's when you have relationship with you, when you understand that the divine masculine and the divine feminine are really it's this beautiful dance, and it is dancing with you to bring you to your greatest version of yourself. There's never a moment in time where your internal guidance system is not showing you where life is. And I promise you guys that you have to analyze your life on a daily basis. You have to go through and say, where do I feel good? Where am I working too much? Where am I putting too much of effort in? And I promise you, I was putting way too much effort in building in my business and not enough creativity. And I felt smothered, because I love being in my divine feminine. It is my nature. It's where I'm supposed to be. And when I'm not creative and I'm not flowing, I feel confined and I feel restricted. And I built all these things, but they weren't satisfying because I wasn't creating. So you have to find balance within you. You have to find a love within you that is powerful. You have to understand that where your masculine is and where your feminine is, and you have to understand that they're both, and you have to use both in different areas of your life. There is a guidance system that is showing you. It is your emotional guidance system. It is your energetic guidance system. It is your mental body, your physical body, your emotional body, and your spiritual body. All of those are components of you, guys. It is the most powerful thing that you could understand. Is your relationship with you is the most important relationship you can have on this planet. Because when you are connected to you and your mental body, your physical body, your emotional body, your spiritual body, and you are connected as you and the divine masculine and the divine feminine are balanced in your life, and your internal guidance system is on point, you bring the greatest version of you out. Your gifts get to come through you as divinity, through you out into the world. You are more powerful than you will ever know. If you want to learn more and you want to come on our Soul Revival retreats, we do this exact work on our Soul Revival retreats. Our next one is in Tulum, and our one after that is in Costa Rica. It's Soul Revival retreats, NoelleAgape.com, Soul Revival retreats. I promise it will change your life. If you like this video, please like it, share it, and subscribe it, because our gift at Noelle Agape Global is to have everyone be the most powerful gift that they can bring to the universe. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next time.